Welcome to another podcast from Upgrowth. My name is Bhaskar. I am your host for the evening. And Upgrowth, as you know, brings you podcasts with industry leaders, with entrepreneurs who have who have created businesses, who are role models, and who inspire others to do things in life. And our podcasts have a theme. Every podcast is not just about an interview. Every podcast is not about a product. Every podcast is not about someone selling something. Our podcasts are about stories. Our podcasts are about what is possible. Call it the art of possible. Our podcast is about what is needed in the society, the changes that our society needs, and how we can do as a digital economy. So, with that, uh, I will put a link to the other podcasts that we have had until now in the description, and please go ahead and check those out. I would like to kind of delve into what we are going to talk about today. Today, what we are going to talk about is inclusivity. Now, if India is going to be $1 trillion or a $2 trillion or a $10 trillion economy, it cannot be in the hands of few or few hundreds. It has to be a mass movement. It has to be from people, by the people, from and for the people. We have to get everyone involved to create that $1 trillion or a $3 trillion economy. Again, if you look at the second problem that we are facing today as a nation, there is disparity. There are pockets of wealth, and there is this entire vast sea of people who don't have even money to feed themselves. Now, these are the two extremes. But look at the bottom of the pyramid. That's such a huge mass. Bottom of the pyramid are people who actually run this economy. These are not the wealthiest 1%. These are not the poorest people who don't even earn the basic wages. These are the people who you interact with every day. Your kirana wala, your salon person, your electrician, your plumber, your hardware store. These are the people who are in the middle and the bottom of the pyramid and run India. So we were thinking about how do we get them digitally enabled. And then, there are so many challenges. Digital is a great enabler, by the way. You don't need a lot of investment to get online and start selling your business, but there is a huge learning over there. People who acquire the skill can do it. People who can't acquire the skill cannot. So we thought that, okay, this session that we do for our growth has to be about inclusivity. How do we include masses in the journey to the $1 trillion economy? What needs to be done? Okay, we can say government, it's the government's prerogative. Government has to do certain things and include everyone. But government is just an enabler. Private sector or the large enterprises have their CSR, but again, it's constrained. They can only do so much, which is where entrepreneurs need to create these opportunities. And and then we as Approach are very fortunate, and we are very happy to have been working with a team, a couple uh, who redefine what inclusivity is, who have kind of changed the meaning of inclusivity. So it's my pleasure to to welcome Krishnakant, who I would love to call KK, and Prajkta on this podcast. By the way, this podcast will also be available on YouTube and for everyone else. So let me introduce you to Krishnakant. KK started off as a young engineer with a vision to help the underserved sections of our society. He founded an open source accounting software that put his name on the map, and there has been no looking back since then. In 18 plus years, he has founded organizations, multiple organizations, and he has been advisor to ministries in the Indian state and internationally. And he developed softwares and more. I'm just being very cryptic because there is something going to come. He's a TEDx speaker, and he is a role model and a rock star in India. And by the way, KK here on the stream is visually challenged. And when I was kind of doing research for this interview, KK mentioned that people ask him this question: do you actually not see, or do you partially see? So I will come to that question with KK later, but KK is a role model, and he wanted to be inclusive, so he created an ecosystem of inclusiveness. Welcome, KK, to the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me online. And hi, everybody.
My next guest is Prajkta. Prajkta is passionate about software, and she's an accomplished Python and data analyst. Plus, she has experience in UI UX. She is the co-founder of the company which I'm going to introduce right now, and she's kind of thinks ahead and kind of the people person. She manages the operations. Welcome, Prajkta.
Yeah, thank you.
KK and Prajkta are also married and they are the power couple, and they run this company called Bookmatic Private Limited, which you may know by the brand OnlineKhata. So let me start, KK, with a very basic question. What, according to you, is inclusivity in business?
You see, when you have a situation wherein people are either paying a lot for technologies or any resource, not just technology. I being from the technology front, I can talk about that. But any resources, or have to compromise and end up doing less business or lose on their business opportunities because they have to either go for cheap and unprofessional stuff, or they end up paying a lot, which is again a loss. So not having cost effective and better resources to actually make them focus on their business. So making or facilitating people's time and energy and money so that they can focus on their business is what I think is inclusivity.
Okay, that's interesting. So let me take a step back. I mean, personally, what does inclusivity mean to you? And I would really love if you could share your story over here.
Yes, because that itself made me realize what inclusivity actually should mean, and that's how it has been like that. By the way, I am the first visually impaired IT professional, a complete visually impaired IT professional, and in India. And when I started my career, we were only 3 in Asia. So I don't know whether I was the first, second, or third, but there were other 2 people who were also simultaneously budding IT professionals in Asia. But then that is the whole story. Now, what happened is that when I was a young child, my parents put me in a sighted school. Again, that was the first case in India, that a totally blind person is not put in any special school, but a regular school where all the other kids go. So, that was the thing. And when I was in my 7th grade, yes. So, while visiting US all alone, by the way, my parents sent me. They were his friends, my father's friends over there. I was seeing some schools for the blind people there, and I discovered a talking typewriter. So it's a rudimentary stuff. Like when you press A, it will say A. When you press space, it will say space. And when you press the backspace, it will say erased and the character. So I was like, oh, great. I mean, I was fascinated, small child. So I asked the teacher over there that, how is it that a typewriter talks? So she, in her American accent, told me, it has a program in it. So it has a program. So I said, what program? I mean, like radio or TV program. So she started to laugh, and then she said, okay, I'll give you some books and some cassette types. You can go home and read it. So when I came back to India, I read those books. They were in the Braille, the dotted lipi, which blind people use, and some cassette tapes. Then I realized that, which means program is like, putting your own wisdom into the computer's artificial brain for processors with a sequence of instructions. And it is to be done in a specific manner. It is to be done in a specific way which a computer understands. That is programming. And then I realized, I learned about hardware, software and all. And I realized that if we think of computer as a brain, and then if we can have artificial senses to it, we already have them, right? Keyboard, mouse, printer, scanner, camera, which we are using right now, and so on and so forth. Then, the creativity, accuracy, and, what do you call it? The authenticity of your work is going to be raised by infinite level. When these things happen, that time the internet was a rarity. Everyone did not have internet and all. But that is what I thought, like, the creativity of a person, the accuracy and the speed at which you can do your work, it is going to be raised at infinite level. And that is the reason I decided I want to be one of those people who puts that wisdom of or ideas into computer's brain through a thing called programming language. And that's what I thought. And that's when I decided that I'll be a software engineer, because then I knew that this is a totally big thing and that's going to happen. So when I made this announcement, I was in the merit list in 10th grade. That time there was something called as merit list. There was pin drop silence. Some people thought I'm a fool. Some people thought he's a visionary. Some people thought he's a dreamer, and all that. But apparently I couldn't take this. This is the first time when I realized the need for inclusivity. I couldn't take up computer science for a simple reason that there was no software or hardware infrastructure facility available in India which would help a blind person run a computer, let alone being an engineer. So there is a speech synthesizers. By that time they had come, but they were very costly. So I did my arts. That time I did one thing. As a hack, I say never stop. Try finding alternative ideas, but never stop. So I took up subjects like logic. Of course, mathematics was there and stuff like that, statistics, because I knew eventually I would do my engineering, and that time this will come in very handy. So after my first graduation, then the softwares had become slightly cheap. And one of my father's friend, it was still not affordable to us. My father's friend, gifted me one software copy of a talking software. And that was like costing like 1 lakh rupees, 100,000 rupees. And that's very costly. That was the second time I realized, okay, I have one. Now I will be a software engineer, because then I convinced the university to take me in, and then they put the software on the machine and all. Again, this was a second shock to me. I said, okay, I am the winner. It is like sheer denial of opportunity, because I had good contacts. I was a good speaker. I was a journalist. I used to write for papers. So I had those contacts. What about other blind people who may have also thought like me, but now they will not be able to do it because they cannot afford and they don't have contact. So that was the second time when I realized that there is some need for inclusivity. And that is the time when I had decided that the first free time I will get out of my work when I will earn something, when I will be in my job or business, I will help develop a talking software which would be free. And that apparently did happen when I and a few guys funded by Sun Microsystems, we together started a project called Orca, ORCA. It's a talking software on the Linux operating system. It was then also mimicked in Windows called NVDA. I'm not a part of NVDA, but I was a part of Orca, which started in the first place. So that's when I thought, okay, I've done something which is now making things a bit more inclusive. And fast forward to OnlineKhata, the same thing happened with the concept, because I realized that small and micro businesses are either ending up paying a lot of money to get good software, or they have to spend a lot of time away from their business dealing with the accountants and giving them data and all that stuff. So I thought we'll have to have a middle way for that. And that's how always it has been, that I always believe that we have to work on inclusivity, and whoever is now digitally underserved, they have to be served properly. So that's my story, and that's my take on inclusivity.
Thanks, KK, for sharing that. A couple of things. You are a funny guy. The way you mentioned your experience in the US,
yeah,
and it must be profound. What year was that?
95, 94 or something like that.
94, 95. Okay, amazing. Thanks. And I remember you and I had a conversation last week where you had mentioned, you may not have vision, but you are visionary. I truly believe now that I hear your story. It's great. So Prajkta, anything, I would like to just take a detour and say, get something about how you met KK and how did that happen? And we'll come back to the conversation later.
Okay, hi Bhaskar.
Yes.
So firstly, yeah, KK is very famous in IT circle. So I was knowing him since I started my engineering. So I had he had called to so many news channels, and he has given interview on, I think I don't remember
IBN.
the show name, but yes, he had got IBN award, Super Idol award. So I was knowing him since I think 2008 or 9. And then when I joined my engineering, he had come to our college for giving lecture on open source. Okay, so after that we connected on Facebook, and then we met, and then I joined his organization as a fresher.
Wow. You met on Facebook?
Yeah, the second meeting was on Facebook. First day I met.
Yeah, I'm just taking a detour. KK, how do you access Facebook? And it's important for people to know.
So yeah, so that talking software which I said, now of course there are proprietary costly talking softwares even today available, but the one I use, and there is also one on Windows, are those free softwares, Orca, that is ORCA, and non-visual desktop access, NVDA, that's on Windows. So what happens is whenever you're moving your arrows through cursors, or you're pressing the tab key, or when you're pressing function keys, or you're accessing your menus with keyboard, I totally rely on the keyboard. So everything is announced back. That is the whole software. That is the whole idea about it, including the text, including the notifications, including the drop downs and what is the contents in the drop down, including what, let's say I'm on a button which says close. So it will say close button. So I know it's a button. I have to press it. Or a checkbox. So it will say toggle to press a space bar to, toggle it. So the entire thing is about the infrastructure which any operating system gives. So that is the whole concept of accessibility, as it is called in the digital world. So as far as, since you are asking about Facebook, when people often ask me, are there certain advantages? Yes. I'll tell you what, like I met Prajkta in her college time. So I had gone for a lecture there, and then we met and we realized that we have everything in common, including our hobbies, including our inclination towards stuff like classical music and everything. But the thing is, I used to chat with her even at my home. The big advantage was that I would switch off the screen. No one would know what's going on. Even in the crowd, I could safely chat with her because the earphone would have been in my ear and the talking software talking, and the screen used to be switched off. So I could talk with her. I mean, even personal things anytime, anywhere without any problem. See, blindness has its own advantage.
As I said, you kind of you're a funny guy. Let me put it that way. Great. So guys, we will put link to these softwares in the description wherever you are viewing this on YouTube or on the podcast. We thank KK for sharing this detail. And please feel free to share these softwares with people you know who need these, and that will help us.
And they are not just free of cost, they are open source, which means if either of you are programmers and wish to contribute as a social thing towards such initiatives, you can also help them out with documentation, even source code contributions and all.
Absolutely. Thanks, KK. KK, now switching the gears a bit, would you, small business is not small for the Indian economy. Small business is big for Indian economy. What happens is, like, big businesses have their own lobby. They go and lobby to the government, and the small businesses don't get proper representation. What are the major challenges you think small businesses face today?
You see, one of the biggest challenge is digital inclusion, and one of the biggest challenges that they are technologically underserved. The simple reason being, let me take the very thing, the theme of our software itself. Now, why this whole thing comes up? Because what the small business does, there will be a small counter, and they will be making their bills because customers are coming and buying things, and that's it. But now what they have to do, they have to take those bills, they have to compile them together, and they have to go to their accountant. They have to pay 24,000-30,000 rupees per year. Log puchte na jaane kyun kar rahe. I mean, why do we have to pay so much to the accountants? And then accountant will call up and say, boss, this is not right entry. Please give us, this is not right. We don't understand this. And why have you done this expense? Why not you have done this? And then again, this whole, hustle bustle keeps on happening, and they end up paying a lot of money. They end up losing a lot of time. This is one challenge. The other challenge is that they are not even aware of facilities, whether government or even private facilities. Even with the fact that there is Facebook, there is Twitter, there is everything available. But these people, because they are very poor at communication, I'm talking about the typical roadside shops, or salons, as you rightly said, or tuition teachers or instructors and all. Now they need to know that there are resources. Forget that, even small tech startups, I don't know how many of them actually know the procedure of applying for Startup India, which is, by the way, a very great thing which the Indian government is right now doing. So the facilitation is not there, which of course is there, and the inclusion disability, because I think if you can't afford good technology, and if you don't have the right knowledge, and the technologies are not simple enough to handle, that's also a situational disability. Disability is always not about being blind or deaf and dumb or anything else. Even the small and micro people are digitally disabled. This is what I believe. That is the biggest challenge.
Okay. So, and then could you kind of lead us into, because I know about this, like OnlineKhata, and how did you, how did it all start? Because this is a big problem. And I am sure, and I know of it, that you have done a few things to address this. Can you just take us back a few years, how you discovered it and how you kind of started to address this problem?
So I was an independent software consultant. Apart from the fact that I was working with IIT, I was working with Comet Media Foundation. I also worked in the Homi Bhabha Center for Science Education, which is in Mumbai. I did work there, and there I got introduced to the concept of free and open source software. And one fine day, I realized that on one hand, there are costly, proprietary, complex softwares which a lot of people used to tally their books of accounts.
Okay. I like that. Tally their books of account.
Yeah. So, so they have to tally their account. So for getting the tally, they have to go to the accountant, or then they have to have a software which can tally their account. But to do that, they have to have that knowledge and understand how to tally the accounts in the first place, all the debits and credits and stuff. I thought, okay, something has to be done about it. Let's do, there are 2-3 things I realized. Number one, it need not be so complicated, because 90% of the features in all these big ERPs and big time softwares are not even used by 10% of the small and micro businesses. Okay. So first of all, get rid of unnecessary things. Number two, there should be something which is available to everyone. And number three, we need to do something to reduce the processes. And I thought, okay, let's do this, because I thought if I'm saying all these things, then I had 2 questions. If not me, then who? And if not now, then when? That's when I decided to do this GNU Khata, which is a free software. Of course, it's still there. I founded it. I led the project for 10 years. During that, we had funding from Kerala government and sometimes from the central government as well. Some commercial companies like Tech Blue Services also had given a little bit of contribution. So basically, I always saw to it that it's community participated software effort, not community driven, because there are a lot of community driven softwares which fail, because then there is all kind of problems in that. So as far as when I was leading it and founded it, I decided we'll have community participation, but there should be some central leadership which can decide on stuff. No? So that's how I ran it. I started my own organization called Digital Freedom Foundation. That is the place where Prajkta also, by the way, started. We started there. And later on, of course, at some point we realized, okay, we are doing this. It's free software. It's great. If I leave it, the community will be able to handle it properly. Let it be. The problem was that the community and these non-profit funders always had an agenda to, they had a limited approach. Plus, when you say that there is community participation in a software like a financial software, you cannot expect the customers to get that much of consistency, reliability, certainty of service. That is when I decided, okay, that project can continue on its own, because it's an offline tool, by the way. It's not hosted on a cloud. Let people continue doing its work. I thought we have the domain knowledge. Let's do everything right from scratch and build up a commercially viable product. That would be the best way to reach the masses. And yes, put it at a very cost-effective rate and give a very professional quality service to those people. They even ask us accounting questions. Sometimes they ask, "Ki hamare accountant ne aisa bola hai." They are asking us to do it this way. What is the right way of doing it? So that's a complimentary thing, of course. And then we realized that this is the right way of going about it. Let's start a company and do the entire stuff, because it will be a totally different ball game when you are doing at a commercial level and giving service to the customers, vis-a-vis just making a free software and giving it for download. There are differences in that. So that's how OnlineKhata happened. And we decided, okay, the first thing we should do is we should enhance the automation part of the software and make accounting completely automated, and also see to it that the customers are made well aware of that needs proper sales executives and stuff like that. So that's how it happened. And fortunately, we were working, me and Prajkta, also with another company called Tech Blue Private Limited, one of those who had contributed back then in OnlineKhata. We had a good rapport with the director of the company over there, and they kind of adore me a lot, and they of course adore Prajkta also a lot. And we had a very nice relation together. They also are involved in some open source activities. So once I told them that there's something I wish to do, and that's my vision, that we want to serve the digitally underserved people in a very professional way, not just a CSR or kind of a free software thing. So they immediately, within 24 hours, told me in principle that they are ready to be my investors. I should float a company and they would put the money in. And that's exactly what happened. One is a UK investor, UK-based investor, Vikas Tara. He has his own accounting company there. And then there was also a company in India called TechBlue Private Limited. By the way, the TechBlue is also owned by Vikas Tara himself. And he's an angel investor anyhow. And it has been an extreme pleasure working together, because they also mentor at times, because we are good at developing products. We are good at telling people what the product is all about. We are very good at reaching the masses. What we might not be so good at is, good marketing, which, you guys are really expert at, as well as, some mentoring is required for strategy planning and all. And that's where our investors have really been our mentors as well. So that's the whole story of OnlineKhata, and how we actually, kind of took a detour from it for best reasons and started right from scratch on this one.
Thanks, KK, for sharing that. There are a few things that come out. Digital Freedom Foundation.
Yeah.
Was that a revolution?
The revolution was already started in 1984 by a person named Dr. Richard Stallman, because for him, according to him, free is not free of cost. It means freedom. So you should have the freedom to do whatever you want to do with your software. Just like you buy a diary from a shop, that the shopkeeper cannot tell you that you can only write this in your diary and not that, and he's not going to come and check all the time. It's your product. You can do anything you want. So that is the whole concept. And by the way, free software is more of a political movement. That's another reason why I chose to stay away from it after a certain period of time. There is also a parallel movement called open source, wherein it's more of a commercial stuff. Open source has a simple funda that if there are multiple participants and the stage is open, you will have myriads of ideas, and you can screen the best ones and let people contribute to the product and also get something back from it. So that's the open source thing. I thought if we have to do something for OnlineKhata, which is the open source one we did, it should be done properly under an organization, and that's how we did Digital Freedom Foundation. But when I did that, I also realized that this is an opportunity to also help other fellow visually disabled people. And I ran a project called Digital Drishti for some time. But alas, we couldn't get a lot of funding for that. That was to actually make more, blind software engineers like myself. But it is not really happening. I'm still trying to make attempts to, do it at a social level, because that's not something which I'm doing for profit. But it has to be sustained in certain way. So Digital Freedom Foundation also did that work. And we also had, worked with the Indian government to see to it that open source comes in the curriculums of IT as well as non-IT backgrounds. So that is the brief work I did with Digital Freedom Foundation. But then, I got by 2019-20, as I said, we floated our company, and then we started to do stuff, which was something which I really wanted to do, and that is to serve the digitally underserved in a very, very professional way. So that was the time when Digital Freedom Foundation took a backseat, and Bookmatic was like it took the entire mind share of us.
Amazing. Now I know why Vikas adores you and Prajkta. And that brings me to the question, like, Prajkta, how does it feel to be the tech power couple? And one more question to you, Prajkta, between and KK. I mean, I'll put this directly to Prajkta, not to you. Who manages the books at home?
Yes. Because when I started working with KK, so I started with him with OnlineKhata itself. Okay, and it was a very new phase for me to getting salary and then managing my funds. So even I have downloaded that software, and I was managing all my transactions in that. So even I used to get many queries like why this is credit, why this is debit. No, because since I am an engineering student, so what I know is debit means we are getting, and credit means everything is going out. So it's not true in the accounting.
It's the other way around.
Yeah, it is different thing, because even we get queries from our interns and our programmers who don't know accounting. So because we get that message from bank,
when money comes, you say it's credited to your account. Then after debit what comes in, and then the bank is saying money is credited. Why this confusion? So we have to tell them there are accounting rules and a bank is doing it from their point of view, not your point of view, and blah, blah, blah. But as a power couple project, I can also answer that. But I'll put one thing. When you have same passions, when you have a shared, ambition, there are two things which happen. This is one very important tip to young would-be entrepreneurs. I have observed this personally that investors are a bit more impressed when they see a couple founding a company, because they know that there can be it's a positivity there. There is a positivity, and they can see that this is a double resource. And at times they can share responsibilities. At times they will argue and then convince each other. And it's very, very easy to work with such a setup where there is a couple, both of them involved in the same passion and same business and the same this thing. And beyond the business, it is always great. It's like we wait. Okay, the time is finished now. Sometimes Prajkta has to tell me, "Yaar, bas karo abhi," and sometimes I have to tell her. And it's beautiful. We share that positivity. So maybe Prajkta can add something to it since you asked that.
Yeah, Prajkta, over to you, because I would like to one straight question today. Once when you started, it was a different thing.
Yes.
Now you guys are role models. Who manages the khata for home?
Certainly, I manage.
Okay. And,
but KK also put some money in that.
okay. But how much liberty does KK get to do? Okay. Finally, who decides?
We both decides. It's not my decision or his decision. But we don't get fights in that, because since we both like many things to do together. So
yeah, I was about to say that the only thing when I do it on my own is when I have to surprise her. That is the time when she's certainly not aware of what's going on. But other than that, most of the thing, okay, we have to go out. We both think like that. And the kind of places we like to visit are also same. So again, there is no fight. The kind of hobbies we have is the same. So there is again no fight. So yeah, that is the word.
That's called an absolute power couple. With my wife and I, we do absolutely the opposite things. And that's why we are together. Like, she doesn't do what I do. Yeah. I don't do what she does. And it's like that. So these are two ways, and great.
No, there is a difference between a magnet and the couple. In magnet, always the unlikes attract and the likes repel. In marriages, even the likes attract and the unlikes attract. The difficult part happens when there is no consistency. But either you have to be consistently like the way you both are, or you have to be consistently like the way we both are.
Yeah.
If there is an interruption in that and suddenly something changes, then of course we will have a problem. I mean,
you cannot
little bit of marriage counseling.
You cannot be consistently inconsistent.
Yes, exactly.
Nice. That like that. Okay. So let me come back to our discussion. Like, what is OnlineKhata? Well, explain to me as if I don't know anything. What is OnlineKhata? Why should I use OnlineKhata? Should we use online?
Yeah, I will tell you in a nutshell, and then Prajkta will elaborate in detail. OnlineKhata is you make your bills, and OnlineKhata is your personal accountant. It automates the whole process of accounting, which otherwise you would have gone to your accountant and paid him to do the same. That's OnlineKhata.
Okay, think of me. Say I am a practitioner. Like
yes.
Say something like. I run. Give me an example. Like who is OnlineKhata good for? Okay. One service that, because I am a service guy, so I can relate.
So service and product, because that's also one unique part of OnlineKhata that I'll tell you in a moment. But in general, let me tell you, anyone who has a small business, not more than 5 people employed, a stationery shop or a canteen or a grocery store, or small cloth merchant, and small gyms, tuition teachers, doctors, lawyers, consultants, okay. What happens is they don't know accounting, and they should be using this, because if you don't use it, what you're doing is you are creating bills for your customers, then going to an accountant every month, because now GST is there, giving those bills, getting the data entry done in accounting the way an accountant or an auditor wants. That's called vouchers, okay. Generating reports which will not even understand if I tell you. And then they will say, "Acha, ye theek hai, this is correct, this is not correct." and then they will file your returns. So you pay for the data entry. You don't understand anything what's going on, and then you also pay for the filing of returns. Now, filing of returns we cannot eliminate because that has to happen, and someone has to sign the reports, authenticate them. But the data entry part, which anyways you never understand how to do it, why have an accountant do the data entry when computer can automate this whole thing? And by the way, it is said that the rules of accounting were made even before Newton discovered gravity. Yeah, so if the rules are so stable, there must be something really right. There must be something really correct. They have not changed for 500 years. So we think that this is something which something can be automated completely. So as a service provider, another advantage is most softwares will tell you, no matter you are a service provider or you're a goods trader, you have to buy the entire software XYZ. You cannot say, hey, I am just a consultant, I don't need inventory. They will say, no, you have to buy the entire package. We cannot break it off and give it to you. But OnlineKhata does that as well. If you are a service provider, you can say, I don't want the inventory model. They'll say, okay, fine. You have a separate package, the subscription model, in which you only pay half the price because you take away the inventory part. That also, by the way, reduces the complication. So there are two reasons. One is for the service provider, there are two reasons: that there is no inventory. And one common reason is you do your bills, we do your accounting automatically. You don't have to even know that accounting is happening. It just happens.
Super. So say, for example, I am a mathematics teacher, and I kind of I kind of have 20 students that are there, and I have 2 teachers who are helping me.
Yes.
So I get on OnlineKhata because I have to get payments monthly from the parents of my students.
Yes.
So I can just send them an invoice, they pay.
Yes.
And it is recorded.
And that's it. Yeah, it is recorded, but more thing happens. The entries which are needed for your generation of things like profit and loss and balance sheet and stuff, which accountant would have done for you and ask money for you, that is done right away. The moment you make the bill, those accounting entries are done in the background. So you don't have to last minute rush for the accountant and go, okay, I have to take these bills to the accountant. Now I have to grab an accountant and get the data done and get the reports. No, you don't have to do anything like that now.
Yeah, and even you will have to pay to your buddies. Like you will have to make payments for the other teachers who are working with you. Also, you have to pay electricity bills, office rent, etc. Okay, so for that also you don't have to know accounting knowledge. Okay, so you can directly make receipts and payment entries without knowing credit and debit. You just have to select to whom you have to make payment or from whom you have to receive the payment, and just have to enter the amount and the narration if you want to, and just save. And at the background, it will save in the credit and debit format, which is accepted by CAs.
I mean, imagine this. You're a teacher, you made these bills and invoices. Your accountant calls up at the end of the month. Okay, send your bills and invoices to me. I have to do the data entry and generate reports and file your GST. And imagine when you say, no, you don't have to do it. I'm sending you the report, just pay my GST. That is the difference with and without OnlineKhata. With OnlineKhata, you just tell him, koi zarurat nahi data entry ki, I'm sending you the reports. It's ready. I mean, he will be like, how on earth did you make these reports and generate these reports in the first place? The point is you never did it because the computer did it for you with OnlineKhata.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's, I'm kind of in awe of the possibilities because number one, I think being able to generate the bill in itself is a task.
Yes.
Generating a bill for and then doing all that stuff. Bill is a task, and what goes behind the bill to filing your returns, if you are automating all that without me knowing it, it's amazing. It's amazing. Like I don't think I will need to tally my books.
Yes.
So great. So at this stage, I would also like to borrow one of your quotes, if I may.
Yes, sure.
Yes.
The quote is, accounting was invented before Newton discovered gravity.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I will use it going forward, and I'll quote you, KK.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Why not?
Great.
I'll tell you the name also of the guy also. His name is Luca Pacioli. He's an Italian mathematician who invented the double bookkeeping system, the debit credit system.
But you quoted it. I'll refer everyone who
I
asked.
did quote it. I keep telling people because thanks to our domain expert who was with us for a long time, he actually told me, look, boss, do you know that this happened in 15th, early 15th century when Luca Pacioli made these things. So I was like, hey, what are you saying? This is long before Newton got his invention, discovery of gravity. Yeah? It's like that.
Correct. So just as you are simplifying life of a teacher by letting them just generate invoices and you take care of the accounting. So I take the liberty to just quote you. And if anyone asks me for the details, I'll say, ask KK.
You see, I have quoted this deliberately because a lot of people came to me and said, how can you automate this? Because accounting is so dynamic. And I said, yes, the rules are so fixed that they have not been changed for 500 years.
And I love it.
As good as that. So I consider that I don't know why people didn't realize, or they perhaps the software developers never wanted to realize that this can be automated. Because, before you go any ahead, people might say, and I want to say this to everyone, that this might be like, you're stepping on the stomach of the accountants, because their earning is gone. The fact is their earning will increase for a simple reason. If they had to do manual data entry and tally the books, then they would be serving X number of customers. Now they don't have to do this. Now filing of returns, they can do X plus 10 times the customers, because now that time of doing the data entry is saved, so they can actually take in more customers. So even they are benefiting from this.
Yes, and as number of customers increases, so chartered accountants can eventually employ more accountants under them to do this work. So
Right.
as well
Yeah,
as
so Prajkta, and you bring us to a very great point as the number of customer increases.
Yes.
And that is where things like ERP, where you do complicated stuff, comes in. So Prajkta and KK, what's your take on that? Like, I think you have mentioned it once, like why keep telling your books of account, but I would like to kind of hear more on that. Like, when customers increase, how does OnlineKhata help and simplify life for me?
For you as an accountant?
No. For the business owners.
Oh, you see, we have deliberately made a choice not to make an ERP. I mean, with the investment behind us, we could have easily made an ERP.
What's the difference? If I'm a large business, can I use it? If I'm large in the sense, large in the pyramid of small business, there are large and small. Like,
yes.
Yeah, there's no absolute cutoff over there.
Yes. That's the reason when I said this, I was very particular that people who have not more than 4 or 5 employees in their shops or in their institutes or in their businesses. Because we don't have an HR module, we don't have a payroll module, which actually in a way we are trying to modularize and have it. Like HR and payroll is fine to do. We will be doing it in the due course of next year. But we don't want to have complex stuff like production planning and stock reconciliation and stuff like that. We are not getting into it because there are already enough products doing it and they are doing it pretty well. So one thing is, why should I go in their own route? They are more ahead of us and they are much better than us in that. So that will be a loss to us and a strategic mistake. And second thing, they don't want to come down to our level and actually help the micro and small businesses, in the way we are helping. So when the customers will increase, one thing is there, we are just starting an aggregation service also. So what we're going to do, a lot of customers, Bhaskar, have come to us and they're very happy about our software. The only, I can say, something between a complaint and a request is, now that you have automated our accounting process and we are going to an accountant with the ready-made reports to file our returns, why don't you give us accountants as well? Like, we would ideally love to just make the bills and forget about it. We don't even want to take the reports and go to the accountant. So honoring request which has come from a lot of customers, we are now actually also partnering with accounting firms and also giving that, because we cannot legally give accounting service. We are not practitioners in accounting. So we are partnering with accounting firms, and we will be assigning accountants to our customers and say, okay, hey, now your bills, and that's it. We are not just automating your accounting, but we will also take care of your auditing, and that will be almost near zero user intervention. And the other way around also, we tell accountants that you have a lot of customers, we can reduce your work. Go and tell them to use OnlineKhata, because then you will get the reports ready, but you don't have to do anything. And they will be very happy to pay less to you, and you will be very happy to serve more customers. So it's a two-way aggregation. We are just starting now.
Wow. You are just expanding the market both ways, like adding more customers and adding more services for those customers so that you monetize OnlineKhata.
And as Prajkta loves to say, we are also creating employment as a result.
Yeah, that's amazing. So on that note, would you like to share some customer stories? Like, I mean, something that has wowed you, as in you've been doing this for some amount of
Prajkta,
time.
can you?
Yeah,
Yes,
Prajkta.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So I would like to share 3 stories with you. So first story is regarding service industry. So we have one customer who has a traveling business. So I think they use use some softwares to book tickets, and they get this bookings from the many customers for international and national trips. Okay, so the company name is a Travel Point. Okay, so what happens, they have 10 plus employees in their company to handle all different kind of stuff, but the owner itself makes this invoicing and billing, and he doesn't know about much about this credit and debit rules of accounting. So what happened, so when he came, he talked to our sales executive. So that time he was telling her the same pain which we are solving. So he started to use our software, and one fine day he just called our sales executive, Miss Preeti, and she said, "अरे, इधर तो मुझे कुछ नहीं करना पड़ रहा है, मैं तो सिर्फ इनवॉइसिंग कर रहा हूँ और आपके रिपोर्ट्स तो आ रहे हैं, मतलब मैं अभी डायरेक्टली जाके सीए को दूं." So we said, yes, you just export those in spreadsheet or printable format in whichever format you want,
or give him
and
access.
just submit it to your CA. Otherwise, you can always give auditor access to your account to your auditor. Okay, so we have an internal auditor account facility as well, access facility. Sorry. So we just gave this our reports created by OnlineKhata. And his CA was so happy that you are the first customer who came up with proper data. So this was a really success story for us, and it was really we were very happy that day. Yes, someone understood it. Okay. Then the next story is with the product company. So he distributes chemicals to this chemicals to colleges and laboratories. Okay, so he's a trader, and he is the only person who works in his company. Okay, so he has to handle everything, and handling, as you said, like making bill is also a task. Okay, so you have to add your customers, then you have to add your products, then you have to maintain their taxes, accounts, and whatnot. So what happened, so he had come not this year, I think last year in the September. So he came to us knowing that the accounting entries will be done automatically in the software. Firstly, he was not accepting that only. So he was like, no, ये नहीं हो सकता है. I have used so many softwares in past 10 to 15 years, but ये नहीं हो सकता है. So I gave him 1 month of trial period. Our customer support executive showed her how it happens. how software takes care of all those things. लेकिन उसका तो फीडबैक अलग ही था, अरे आपका तो बिलिंग ही इतना अच्छा है, तो ये तो मुझे अभी देखने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. मतलब बिलिंग इज ऑल्सो अ टास्क कि लोगों को समझ में ही नहीं आ रहा. So even he is very happy. Same thing happened with him. He also went to his auditor with all the data, and his auditor was very happy that अरे ये इस time you did not bring invoices to me. You directly brought.
कहाँ से सीखा आपने ये करने के लिए? He said नहीं, मैंने सीखा नहीं, सॉफ्टवेयर कर देता है, मान लिया, kind of thing. The guy who was saying कि ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता, is like sorry, now I realize that I had still less knowledge about software, which possibilities, so to speak.
Yeah, and third story is also interesting. It is about accessibility. So whenever we develop any feature, so we make sure that the feature is 99.99% accessible to the user who are visually impaired. So we are very strict about it. Even when we take interviews of programmers or software testers, UI designer, interns. Also, we for the last question, because if we ask them at the first, they are going to be reject at that time only. So first, at last, we ask them about the accessibility part as well. So we ensure that the online khata is totally accessible for visually impaired person. So one of our friend, and he's KK's student as well. So he started his business, I think KK last year.
Yes.
Yeah, he started his business of this cold pressed oil. So when first 2 months he handled this invoicing and billing part by himself only, but as customer number increases, see, he wanted to use some software, so he came to us, and he was asking us which software to use and all. So he did not listen to us first. So he went to many softwares, and the last result was those were not accessible. But later he accepted OnlineKhata for invoicing and billing, because it is totally accessible.
So he's totally blind, right?
Yeah, he's also totally visually impaired. So now he is also using yes. Also he doesn't understand accounting knowledge. So he makes invoices and cash memos and debit credit note, whatnot, other documents from OnlineKhata, and he's running his business happily. So this is also a milestone which we have reached, and we have many.
And one funny incident happened. Prajkta has a doctor whom we visit, and he never knew what we are doing. But we told him that we are into accounting software. He was immediately like, "यार, ये accountant लोग मेरे से 30-40 हजार महीने का साल का क्यों लेते हैं?" So I realized the opportunity. I said, "Look, that's exactly what I can prevent if you use my software." So I told him that they do it because they do your data entry, right? The credit debit stuff and all, and you don't have the knowledge. So he said yes. I said then they are bound to charge you for their service. Like अच्छा ऐसा है, बोला नहीं ऐसा नहीं है. Actually you take OnlineKhata, that work is automated, and you end up paying only 2,000 rupees per year. He was like, okay, I am your customer, that's it.
Super. I love all these stories, from the travel agent to the guy doing chemicals and chemical things, and the cold press, and doctor. So there is everyone. I mean, I think may I take the liberty to quote you, KK?
Yeah.
You, in one of our meetings, you said that toll is something everyone has to pay.
Yes.
But then everyone is reluctant, and there comes in the tag, toll tag, it automating. I think, and this is your code, this is not my code.
Yeah.
And definitely it makes a lot of sense right now, because the way you guys are improving things for small businesses on the accounting side is phenomenal.
I'll tell you what, it's a sugar-coated pill, because you are ill, there is a medicine to be taken, it's bitter. So that goes on the last priority. Nahi lete, kadvi hai, But if I coat it with sugar or if we make mango flavor or something, you are apparently going to take it. So that fast tag is also same thing. No one wants to pay it, but apparently you have to pay. So it goes on a back seat. So what you do, you better automate it. So that's exactly what we're doing. Let's accept no one wants to pay taxes. Everyone is about saving it. So anyways, it's a thing which you do at the last minute rush. Arey karna hi pad raha hai. So better take at least if we can't prevent it, at least take the trouble away. I mean, we shouldn't be preventing it. Country has to progress. You have to pay taxes. But let's make it easy by not letting you go for a last minute rush and giving your documents to the accountant and getting it done. And as she said, even billing to be made so easy. That is our whole thing of inclusivity and serving the digitally underserved.
Also, we will be launching mobile app in next week.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Actually, yeah, this is happening at the right time.
News. You may want to announce that, Prajkta. I mean, please go ahead. Talk about it.
Yeah. So, hi guys. We are launching a mobile application for OnlineKhata. It will be free to download and free to use as well, not to only download. And you can make your invoices, bills, you can manage your receipts, payments in one app only, and you can add as many companies as you want. Like if you are a CA or if you are an accountant, you are managing others' account, you are helping others to manage.
Or you have many businesses.
Yeah. So you can make invoicing, accounting entries from the OnlineKhata mobile application. It is Android application, and you will be getting reports ready, and you can just share it with your friends and auditors.
Great. This is awesome. So I think you guys are a power couple. You guys are an inclusive couple. So I don't know how to kind of address you guys. So you are so. And
of course, we are loving couples.
You are loving couples.
Because power, inclusion, all is fine. But at the end of the day, it's love that keeps binding.
You are power, loving, inclusive, visionary, and funny couples.
Yeah.
Does that kind of put you in the right bracket?
Yeah. I think it's a big bracket, no? So many words.
So just before we end, I will have 5 questions.
Yeah.
With short answers, like one line answers.
Okay.
Or one word answers, if that's okay with you. Can we go ahead?
Yes.
Okay. So, what are your expectations from your future customers?
Future customers are going to actually use more of our mobile app, and they would want to do a lot more on the mobile rather than on the laptops and desktops. And they would expect us to give accounting services as well, which we are giving them.
Awesome. As a business couple, where do you see your product in the next 10 years?
10 years is a long period. So I, as a software engineer, I see there must be artificial intelligence who will be handling all these things.
Okay.
Stuff like mera bill bana do, 100 rupiya. That's it. If he says that, the bill should be ready.
Yes.
And also analysis of the data, and according to the rules which government may change, we would also want to have a complete blockchain system wherein things are verified in a very chained manner.
Thank you. As a problem solver couple, where do you see, what problems are you trying to solve in the next 10 years? And you may try to change, because you can solve problems in 6 months that I think take 10 years.
Well, to be very frank, the one of the biggest problems we see, forget about OnlineKhata and all, is to make people realize that they can realize things and get their dreams working. So I am also a mentor. And by the way, you call us power couple. The thing is, we have another company called Mentor Prize, which itself is for that. And 10 years down the line, we see that we will be mentoring a lot of people to get enterprise ready, and especially from the technology field or would be startup entrepreneurs, because the arena is changing fast and there's a lot more to just giving courses. So I call it, I don't say I give courses, I say that I share my journey with our mentees and make them enterprise ready. So we both want to do this a lot more than what we are doing now, right now.
Yes.
Super. You guys are role model for the generation and including me. And who was your role model?
Okay, Prajkta will tell hers. For me, it was Homi Bhabha and Rajiv Gandhi and Dr. Jayan Narlikar and of course Stephen Hawkins.
For me, my role model is Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, then Zakir Hussain also.
Zakir Hussain, interesting.
Yeah.
I will connect with you separately on that. So we today the generation wants to have some hacks, like productivity hacks. How do I make my day more productive? What is your hack?
Our hack is the biggest hack we can tell people is, and it has been told so many times, but I cannot emphasize enough. Please don't be a superman. Okay, have some money and delegate work to people who really can do it, because I cannot be Bhaskar no matter how great a role model I am today or whatever products or technologies I've developed. Marketing is not my cup of tea. Selling is not my cup of tea. So don't be superman and do everything. Have people do it for you, either outsource or in-house. That is the best productivity hack I can give. What about Prajkta? Yeah.
So mine is don't stop. If you have started anything like a startup, entrepreneurship, or if you are working somewhere, so don't stop. Just try to things, get doing it, and at any pace or at any cost, just don't stop. Like if
Slowing
you
down is
don't
fine.
have, yes, slowing down is fine, but don't stop. Like if you don't have funds, if you don't have time, then take 1 or 2 days to think on it and just start it again.
I really can't agree more on this with her. I will add it that you will take loan if you would, but don't stop your work at any cost.
If you are not getting time, just get time from your Saturday, Sunday.
So, before the fifth question, I just want to take a pause and say, share my experience, because I am, apart from doing everything, I'm also an ultra runner. That's when you are running distances like 100 kilometers or 50 kilometers or 200 kilometers. There comes a time that you are low. And I have been through so many times. And what Prajkta just said, it is also so valid over there. You don't just stop, just keep going. And it hurts. Your body hurts. Your body feels like you are dead, but you have to keep
Yes.
going on. So thank you. And the last question now. Are you social or not on social? Do you want people listening to this podcast? Do you want people viewing this video to reach out to you? Please call out your social handles. We will, of course, share them if you are willing. So how should we reach out to you?
Basically, we both are on LinkedIn and Facebook. Twitter, of late, some accessibility issues have happened, so I was not active, but I'm planning to be. But I'm very much there on LinkedIn and Facebook. Besides that, of course, I have my own Instagram handle, but it's not about OnlineKhata. One Instagram handle is about Mentor Price, the company which I have started to mentor people. And another Instagram handle is there where I do my musical stuff, because I did not see this. I am a trained classical singer as well. So, and I do play instruments and also that is there. So yes, we are there. Prajkta, can you give the handles maybe?
Yeah, even I'm there on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. We both are on all platforms.
So guys, if you are listening to this, we'll share their handles to reach out to Prajkta and KK. And KK, I missed out on that. We'll have another session about your musical.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. That is the one of the things which I was talking about. We have similar hobbies. We absolutely have similar hobbies. We both are avid classical music lovers. We do meet classical artists and take autographs on. By the way, we are collectors of old vinyl records and we do play them every day. We listen to analog music even today.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay. So I may have a gift for you.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Wow. You made my day and her day as well.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prajkta and KK, for making time for this session.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Bhaskar.